There was a 10-year-old boy named Sammy who went on a camping trip with his friends to a remote forest. After a long day of fun and exploration, the friends decided to sleep in the cabin they had set up in the middle of the woods. But Sammy, who loved adventure, chose to stay by the campfire, alone under the moonlit sky, surrounded by twinkling stars. Sammy sat by the fire, eating a burger, crunching on chips, and sipping his soda, enjoying the peaceful and enchanting night. Lost in his thoughts, Sammy suddenly heard a strange rustling sound coming from the trees. At first he thought it was just the wind moving through the leaves, but the sound grew louder and closer. His heart began to race, and he tried to convince himself that it was just his imagination. But then everything changed. The tranquility that had surrounded Sammy vanished, and the forest began to plunge into a terrifying darkness. He looked around cautiously, and to his horror, he saw shadows moving between the trees. These shadows slowly drew closer until their features became more distinct. Sammy saw grotesque figures with hollow eyes and decaying bodies approaching him. They were zombies, reanimated corpses searching for fresh prey. Sammy tried to scream, but his voice was choked with fear. The zombies came closer, hungering for flesh. At that moment, Sammy remembered his friend sleeping in the cabin. He knew he had to act quickly. He threw more wood onto the fire, making it blaze brighter in an attempt to keep the zombies at bay with the light and heat. Then he sprinted toward the cabin as fast as he could. Just before he reached the door, one of the zombies grabbed him and bit him. Sammy managed to push the zombie away and rushed into the cabin, but the bite hadn't fully taken effect yet. He reached the cabin, panting heavily, and quickly woke up his friends to tell them what had happened. They were all terrified, but they banded together and decided to stay inside the cabin, securing the doors while they kept watch through the windows. The zombies continued to roam around the cabin all night, and Sammy, in pain, stayed with his friends. The zombies tried to find a way in, but Sammy and his friends remained vigilant until dawn. As the first rays of sunlight began to filter through the forest, the terrifying creatures retreated and vanished into the shadows. The forest returned to its eerie calm, but Sammy was still in pain, and his friends were shaken, knowing that they would never forget that night. The forest held dark secrets, and they had just experienced one of them. As the morning light streamed into the room, covering Sammy's face, he woke up holding his older brother, who was sharing the bed with him. It had all been just a dream. Sammy laughed, and so did his brother and family, relieved that the terrifying night was nothing more than a nightmare.